Losing a lead singer can spell the end for most bands. The voice, the personality, the connection with fans. When that's gone, groups usually fade away, or call it quits. But some bands refuse to accept that fate. They found new voices, took incredible risks, and came back stronger than anyone imagined. Today we're looking at 10 rock bands that replaced their singer and became big. Number 10. Pink Floyd. When Pink Floyd formed in 1965, Syd Barrett was the creative force leading them through psychedelic soundscapes. Barrett wrote most of their early material and sang lead vocals on their debut album, The Piper at the Gates of Dawn. His experimental approach defined the band's early sound, blending blues, jazz, and avant-garde rock into something completely new. But Barrett's heavy use of LSD and deteriorating mental health made him increasingly unreliable. He'd show up to gigs and stand completely still, refusing to play. Sometimes he'd detune his guitar mid-performance. The band brought in guitarist David Gilmour in early 1968, initially as a fifth member. Within weeks, they stopped picking Barrett up for shows. He was out of the band by April 1968. Rather than collapse, Pink Floyd evolved. Gilmour and bassist Roger Waters split vocal duties, with Waters taking on more songwriting responsibilities. The band shifted from psychedelic pop toward progressive rock, creating concept albums that told stories. Dark Side of the Moon in 1973 stayed on the Billboard charts for over 900 weeks. The Wall in 1979 became one of the best-selling albums ever made. Barrett's departure freed the band to explore new territory. They became one of the most successful acts in rock history, selling over 250 million records worldwide. Gilmour's soaring guitar work and more controlled approach to songwriting gave them commercial appeal Barrett's experimental nature never could have achieved.
Look around. Choose your own ground.
Number 9. AC/DC. By 1980, AC/DC was riding high. Their album Highway to Hell had gone platinum and was still climbing the charts. Singer Bon Scott's raspy voice and wild stage presence made him one of rock's most magnetic frontmen. Then, on February 19, 1980, after a night of heavy drinking in London, Scott was found dead in a car. The coroner ruled it death by misadventure from acute alcohol poisoning. He was 33 years old. The band seriously considered breaking up. How could they continue without Bon? But Scott's family encouraged them to carry on, saying Bon would have wanted that. Guitarist Angus Young remembered that Scott had once praised a singer from a British glam rock band called Geordie, comparing him to Little Richard. That singer was Brian Johnson. Johnson got the call to audition in March 1980. He flew to London nervous and excited, a huge AC/DC fan getting the chance of a lifetime. The band asked him to sing Whole Lotta Rosie, one of Scott's most beloved songs. Johnson nailed it. By April, he was officially in the band. They recorded Back in Black between April and May 1980 at Compass Point Studios in the Bahamas, with producer Mutt Lange. The album was released just 5 months after Scott's death, on July 25, 1980. It featured a completely black cover as a tribute to Bon, opening with the tolling bells of Hell's Bells. Back in Black became a phenomenon. It hit number 1 in the UK within 2 weeks. In America, it climbed to number 4 and stayed on the charts for 131 weeks. The album has sold over 50 million copies worldwide, making it the second best-selling album in history. Johnson's slightly different vocal approach brought a new energy, while respecting what Scott had built. AC/DC didn't just survive, they became one of the biggest rock bands on the planet. Number 8. Genesis.
Supper's waiting for you.
Genesis started in 1967 as a progressive rock band, known for elaborate theatrical performances and complex song structures. Peter Gabriel fronted the group, often wearing bizarre costumes and makeup on stage. He'd dress as a flower, a fox, or an old man, creating characters to match the band's conceptual albums. Behind the drum kit sat Phil Collins, who joined in 1970. By 1975, Gabriel felt torn between the band and his family. His first daughter had been born with serious health issues, and touring was keeping him away. Creative tensions also mounted. Gabriel wanted to push boundaries, while the band wanted more structure. In August 1975, Gabriel announced he was leaving. Genesis held auditions for over 400 singers. Nobody felt right. They needed someone who understood their music from the inside. Drummer Phil Collins had been singing backing vocals for years. During recording sessions, they'd ask him to do guide vocals just to lay down the melody. The band realized Collins could actually do this. They promoted him from behind the drums to center stage. Collins continued drumming initially while singing, but eventually they brought in Chester Thompson to handle drums live so Phil could focus on vocals. Their first album with Collins as frontman, A Trick of the Tail in 1976, was a critical and commercial success. It showed the band could survive without Gabriel. Then something unexpected happened. Collins' more accessible vocal style and pop sensibilities transformed Genesis from a prog rock cult band into mainstream superstars. Albums like Duke in 1980 and Invisible Touch in 1986 produced massive hit singles. Invisible Touch, the title track, hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1986. The band sold out stadiums worldwide. Collins also launched a wildly successful solo career simultaneously, scoring 7 #1 singles as a solo artist while leading Genesis to 4 consecutive top 10 albums. The band that nearly ended in 1975 instead became one of the biggest acts of the 1980s. Number 7. Van Halen. David Lee Roth was Van Halen from 1974 to 1985. His acrobatic stage moves, cocky personality, and party-hardy attitude defined the band's image. Van Halen's first 6 albums with Roth went platinum, making them one of the biggest hard rock acts in America. The 1984 album sold over 10 million copies and spawned the massive hit Jump. But tensions were building. Roth wanted to explore different musical directions and had recorded a covers EP called Crazy from the Heat that reached number 15 on the Billboard chart in early 1985. Eddie Van Halen felt Roth was becoming more interested in his solo career than the band. The conflicts came to a head, and Roth departed in 1985. Finding a replacement seemed impossible. Eddie Van Halen offered the job to Patti Smith of Scandal. She declined. Daryl Hall of Hall & Oates was approached. He also said no. Then Eddie's car mechanic mentioned he worked on vehicles for another rock singer who was between projects, Sammy Hagar. Hagar had fronted the band Montrose in the early 1970s and had built a successful solo career through the early 80s. His 1984 album VOA went platinum, and his single I Can't Drive 55 was all over rock radio. When Eddie called, Hagar jumped at the opportunity. Unlike Roth, Hagar could play guitar, which allowed Eddie more freedom to explore keyboards. The chemistry was immediate. They started writing together in Eddie's home studio, which they called 5150, the California police code for a mentally disturbed person. By February 1986, they'd completed 9 songs. Warner Brothers president Mo Austin visited the studio to hear their progress. When they performed Why Can't This Be Love Live for Him, he smiled and said he smelled money. The album 5150 was released March 24, 1986. It shot straight to number 1 on the Billboard 200, the first Van Halen album to top the charts. It went platinum within a week, the fastest million-selling record in Warner Brothers history at that time. The album eventually sold 6 million copies in the United States alone. Over the next decade, Van Halen with Hagar released 4 consecutive #1 albums: 5150, OU 812, For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, and Balance. Every single one went multi-platinum. While Roth's era sold more records overall, it took 7 albums to reach those numbers. Hagar hit comparable sales with just 4 albums. Van Halen had done the impossible, replaced their iconic frontman, and become even bigger. Number 6. Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne seemed inseparable. From the band's formation in Birmingham in 1968 through the entire 1970s, Ozzy's haunting voice defined heavy metal. Albums like Paranoid, Master of Reality, and Sabbath Bloody Sabbath established the template every metal band would follow. But by 1979, the combination of drugs, alcohol, and personality conflicts had become too much. Ozzy's substance abuse was affecting his performances and the band's ability to function. The other members felt they'd accomplished all they could together. On April 27, 1979, Ozzy was fired from Black Sabbath. The band needed someone with power and range to match their heavy sound. They found Ronnie James Dio, who'd previously fronted the bands Elf and Rainbow. Dio brought a completely different vocal approach: operatic, theatrical, technically skilled. He could hit notes Ozzy never attempted. Their first album together, Heaven and Hell, released in April 1980, revitalized Black Sabbath. Critics who'd written them off as dinosaurs suddenly paid attention again. The album went platinum and reached number 28 on the Billboard charts. Songs like the title track and Neon Nights became metal classics. Dio's fantasy-oriented lyrics replaced Ozzy's darker themes, giving the band new creative directions to explore. Dio stayed for 2 albums before leaving in 1982 due to creative differences. He'd be followed by other singers, including Ian Gillan of Deep Purple. But Heaven and Hell proved Black Sabbath could survive and thrive beyond Ozzy. The album remains one of their most respected works, and Dio earned his place in metal history. Number 5. Joni. Joni formed in 1973 as a progressive rock jam band, featuring musicians from Santana and Frumious Bandersnatch. Original singer Greg Rowley shared vocal duties, but the band wasn't connecting with mainstream audiences. Their first 3 albums barely made a dent commercially. Manager Herbie Herbert convinced them they needed a stronger frontman. In 1977, they found Steve Perry singing in a small club. Perry had an incredibly powerful voice with remarkable range. He could hit the high notes that made rock ballads soar. When he joined Joni, everything changed. Their 1978 album Infinity with Perry on vocals reached number 21 on the Billboard charts. The next album, Evolution, went platinum. Then came Departure in 1980, which went to number 8. Joni had found their formula: Perry's voice front and center, Neil Sean's guitar work, and songs that worked on both rock and pop radio. Escape in 1981 hit number 1 and sold 9 million copies in the United States alone. Don't Stop Believin' became one of the most recognizable rock songs ever recorded. Frontiers in 1983 also topped the charts and went platinum 6 times. Joni became one of the biggest bands in the world through the early 1980s. Perry left in 1987 due to health issues and never officially rejoined. The band cycled through other singers with mixed results. Then, in 2007, guitarist Neil Schon discovered Filipino singer Arnel Pineda on YouTube, covering Joni songs with remarkable accuracy. Pineda joined and has been touring with the band since 2008, introducing Joni to new generations while honoring Perry's legacy. That bold move to replace Rowley with Perry in 1977 transformed Journey from a struggling prog band into rock royalty. Number 4. Fleetwood Mac. Fleetwood Mac went through more lineup changes than almost any successful band in rock history. When they started in 1967, Peter Green led the blues rock group through their early British success. Green left in 1970 due to mental health struggles. Guitarists Jeremy Spencer and Danny Kirwan came and went. By 1974, guitarist Bob Welch fronted a completely different version of the band. Then Welch quit. Drummer Mick Fleetwood went looking for a new guitarist and discovered the work of a duo called Buckingham Nicks at Sound City Studio in Los Angeles. He invited guitarist Lindsey Buckingham to join. Buckingham said he'd only come if his musical partner and girlfriend Stevie Nicks could join too. Fleetwood agreed. Adding Buckingham and Nicks in 1975 completely transformed Fleetwood Mac. Suddenly, they had 3 distinctive vocalists: Nicks, Buckingham, and keyboardist Christine McVie. The harmonies and songwriting chemistry clicked immediately. Their self-titled 1975 album Fleetwood Mac reached number 1 and sold 5 million copies in America. But that was nothing compared to what came next. Rumors in 1977 became a cultural phenomenon. The album captured the band members' tumultuous personal relationships. Buckingham and Nicks were breaking up, the McVies were divorcing, and Mick Fleetwood's marriage was falling apart. They channeled all that emotional turmoil into the music. Rumors spent 31 weeks at number 1 on the Billboard 200. It sold over 40 million copies worldwide. Songs like Go Your Own Way, Dreams, and Don't Stop became timeless classics. The album won the Grammy for Album of the Year. Fleetwood Mac went from being a moderately successful blues band to one of the biggest acts in music history. They'd continue success with Tusk in 1979 and Mirage in 1982. The Buckingham Nicks era of Fleetwood Mac proved that sometimes the right voices at the right time can elevate a band beyond anything previously imagined. What started as a British blues outfit became an American pop rock juggernaut. Number 3. Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden formed in 1975 in East London, and their early years saw several singers come and go. Paul Day was first, followed by Dennis Wilcock. When they finally signed a record deal in 1978, Paul Di'Anno took over vocals. Di'Anno's punk-influenced delivery matched the raw energy of their first 2 albums, Iron Maiden in 1980 and Killers in 1981. The albums did well, establishing Iron Maiden as leaders of the new wave of British heavy metal movement. But Di'Anno's lifestyle was causing problems. He struggled with drug and alcohol addiction, and his voice wasn't holding up to the demands of heavy touring. The band needed someone with more range and power who could handle the increasingly complex songs bassist Steve Harris was writing. In 1981, they recruited Bruce Dickinson from the band Samson. Dickinson brought an operatic vocal approach with incredible range and stamina. He could hold notes forever and had the theatrical presence to command huge stages. His debut with Iron Maiden was 1982's The Number of the Beast. The album was a game changer. It hit number 1 in the UK and reached the top 40 in America. The title track became one of metal's most iconic songs, despite controversy over the supposedly satanic content. Run to the Hills hit number 7 on the UK singles chart. The album established Iron Maiden as genuine stars capable of filling arenas worldwide. Dickinson fronted the band through their classic period: Peace of Mind, Power Slave, Somewhere in Time, and Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. Each album was more ambitious than the last. Iron Maiden became one of the most successful metal bands ever, selling over 100 million albums worldwide. Dickinson left for a solo career in 1993, but rejoined in 1999. The reunion proved even more successful than anyone expected. Iron Maiden in the 21st century regularly headline festivals and sell out stadiums globally. The decision to replace Diana with Dickinson in 1981 set Iron Maiden on the path to becoming metal legends. Number 2. Deep Purple. Deep Purple formed in 1968 and built a strong following in Britain with their blend of hard rock and classical influences. Original singer Rod Evans fronted the band through their first 3 albums, scoring a number 4 hit with Hush in 1968. But by 1969, the band wanted to go heavier and more aggressive. They replaced Evans with Ian Gillan, who'd been singing with a band called Episode 6. Gillan brought incredible power and versatility. He could scream, wail, and hit notes that seemed impossible. Guitarist Ritchie Blackmore and bassist Roger Glover also joined around the same time, creating what fans call the Mark II lineup. This new version of Deep Purple was something else entirely. Deep Purple in Rock in 1970 hit like a bomb. The album was harder and heavier than almost anything else at the time. Songs like Speed King and Child in Time showcased Gillan's remarkable range and the band's willingness to push volume and intensity to new levels. Then came Machine Head in 1972. The album featured Smoke on the Water, which became one of the most famous guitar riffs in rock history. The song started as a description of a fire at a casino in Montreux, Switzerland. But the simple, powerful riff made it an eternal rock radio staple. Machine Head went to number 7 in the US and sold millions worldwide. Deep Purple with Gillan became one of the most influential hard rock bands of the early 1970s. Along with Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath, they defined what heavy rock could be. Their live performances were legendary for volume and intensity. The Mark II lineup set the blueprint that countless bands would follow. Gillan left in 1973, but rejoined in 1984 and has been with the band on and off since. His replacement of Evans transformed Deep Purple from a decent rock band into hard rock pioneers who helped create heavy metal. Number 1. Queen.
We will rock you. You sing it, babe.
Before they were Queen, Brian May and Roger Taylor played in a band called Smile. Their lead singer was Tim Staffel, who had more interest in R&B and soul music than the hard rock direction May and Taylor wanted to explore. In 1970, Staffel left to join a band called Humpy Bong. That's when a friend of theirs stepped forward. Freddie Mercury had been hanging around Smile's rehearsals, offering suggestions and generally making his presence known. Born Farrokh Bulsara in Zanzibar, Mercury had studied art and design and was working at a clothing market stall when he convinced May and Taylor to let him join. Along with bassist John Deacon, they became Queen in 1970. Mercury was unlike any frontman rock had seen. His theatrical background, operatic vocal training, and flamboyant stage presence made him mesmerizing to watch. He could sing with power and precision, moving effortlessly from hard rock screams to delicate ballad phrasing. His songwriting combined rock, opera, music hall, and pure spectacle. Queen's early albums built a following, but it was A Night at the Opera in 1975 that made them superstars. Bohemian Rhapsody was unlike anything on radio. 6 minutes long, combining ballad, opera, and hard rock into one song. It topped the UK charts for 9 weeks and redefined what a rock song could be. The band's success never stopped. News of the World in 1977 gave them We Will Rock You and We Are the Champions. Both stadium anthems still played at sporting events worldwide. The Game in 1980 featured Another One Bites the Dust, their biggest American hit. Greatest Hits became the best-selling album in UK history. Queen sold over 300 million records worldwide. Mercury's vocals on songs like Somebody to Love, Don't Stop Me Now, and Under Pressure showcased abilities that few singers could match. His performance at Live Aid in 1985 is considered one of the greatest rock performances ever captured on film. When Mercury died from AIDS complications in 1991, Queen lost an irreplaceable talent, but his legacy remains towering. The band that might have faded away after Tim Staffell left instead found one of the greatest frontmen in rock history and created music that will endure forever. Queen proved that sometimes the replacement becomes the legend. These bands faced what seemed like impossible odds. Losing your singer means losing the voice fans connected with, the personality that defined your image, the chemistry that made your songs work. Most bands in that situation simply fall apart, but these 10 refused to accept defeat. They took chances on new voices, rebuilt their chemistry, and created music that matched or exceeded what came before. Some got lucky finding the perfect replacement at the perfect time. Others took risks that easily could have backfired. All of them proved that with the right talent and determination, a band can survive anything. The next time you hear Back in Black, Don't Stop Believin', or Bohemian Rhapsody, remember these were songs that almost never existed. These were bands that could have ended, but chose to carry on. Their stories remind us that sometimes the biggest successes come after the biggest setbacks. If you enjoyed learning about these incredible comebacks, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more rock history. Let us know in the comments which band's singer replacement story surprised you the most.